Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra.
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people
associated with the creation
or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked
and sometimes what didn't.
You will also hear very personal experiences
and insights that would trigger your thoughts
and inspire you to do even greater things.
Before we jump into today's conversation, a special thanks to PM Power Consulting for encouraging and supporting this show right from the start. With over 1,000 person-years of collective experience, PM Power has helped many organizations, teams, and individuals chart out their own journeys of excellence and make progress. Thank you, PM Power. Now, let's move to today's episode.
You will all relate to the conversation with Shikha Munjal tremendously. Starts very humbly about how her decision to pursue computer science engineering came on behest of her father. And that decision made her soon create a lifelong passion for technology, problem solving, and staying curious. She talks about her adventure with Accenture, getting into Informatica and data technologies, moving to Headstrong, and then starting her lifelong career with Morgan Stanley's account in the financial space. She speaks about JP Morgan working in Mumbai. She talks about her Fidelity International experience. And most importantly, she talks about what it has taken her to staying curious and continuing to learn across various roles she's held. I loved this quote about data today is like a marketplace. You should be able to shop for it within an organization with the right entitlements and governance. She also covers about creating a negative space so that other things can come in. And I loved every part of the conversation with her. Listen on. Hi, Shikha. Welcome to Software People Stories. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Gayatri. And for the listeners as well, it's truly, an honor, and I'm really thrilled and a little bit nervous to be here with you. I don't know what we're gonna really talk about, but I'm looking forward to start the conversation and whichever insights or experiences from my personal journey, happy to share. Maybe people can connect with similar backgrounds, interests, enrich through this exchange. I think there's so much to learn from you as well. So thank you for having me.
Perfect. So Shikha, I know you as a fellow chapter lead in anitaB.org, and we have worked with a couple of other projects as well. And you've been with Fidelity International for about 13 years. How do you introduce yourself for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think each one of us, has unique origin, growth story, which kind of defines us as an individual, who we are. So I kind of describe myself, some of many roles: a mother to an 11-year-old, my son, wife to head of oil and gas, product owner in the current organizations. I've changed multiple roles: a daughter to aging mother, and a sister to take care of a special need brother. And over years, I think I've learned to blend these roles and accepted, that whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and it helps navigating a lot of demanding challenges that you see in your career. So yeah, I think I've kind of settled in myself and into this, and kind of pushing continuously to adapt and pushing the boundaries across different roles and shape the career. Basically, having a growth mindset is something that I describe myself. A little bit on personal introduction of mine, I would like to share. I think like many of other people, I have similar story of coming from a small town. I come from small town in Haryana. I chose engineering not because it was my dream, curriculum or academic that I wanted to pursue, but it was something that my father wished for me almost 2 decades ago. And I simply followed the wishes that he had. And looking back now, I think after almost 2 decades, I think I don't have any regrets because I distinctly remember 2 decades ago when engineering, computer science engineering, that was almost treated as the niche skill set that everybody wanted to do computers. I was getting offered a free electronic seat, and my father, with limited understanding of my world knowledge, I was content with that choice and I wanted to go for it. However, my father insisted, no, you will have to take computer science instead. And here I am today with the degree in computer science. And thank you for all the, advancements and everything that happened. It increased the number of seats and I got computer science. And then finally transition right after, I think, computer science engineering. I remember 4th June was my last exam, and 7th June I transitioned myself into the corporate world immediately, just 2 days, in my final exam. And I thought, let me start my job. And it was a special moment, as it is for everybody. Your first job, your first time in corporate career. And I used to believe, hands-on experience, it goes a long way instead of, just knowing something theoretically. And as early as you start, you would explore multiple fields and you would choose your path where you want to be in. And now 20 years of progressive experience, I have been lucky and blessed to be in global financial industry throughout. Started though with Accenture, moved to at HCL, Accenture, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and now with Fidelity International. I think financial services is something that always edged me and kind of, attracted solving real business problems, though I played multiple roles. But I think what stays with me is how a particular role which really results into a business outcome and really adds value. That is what I always wanted to do. And I am doing product management, program management, combining with the subject matter expertise in financial services, asset management experience, technology, because I started my career with technology. So building products and platforms for asset management. Also a member of senior leadership now in India. Strong proponent, as you said, we've been connected through AnitaB.org, and a strong proponent of D&I, led multiple streams, led North India chapter for Anita B, and had an opportunity, to work with very, very good organizations with the right mentors, continuously enhancing skill set. And here where I am with all the credentials that I'm carrying.
Awesome. I love the part where, sum of whole parts is greater than the person itself. I interview podcasters very often. I find women actually talk about all their roles, specifically falling out. I think that's very unique in terms of we ourselves, we find ourselves identifying with several. I think I just wanted to share that I am very, very impressed with your career journey, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. First, I think, what is your first impression about the whole computer science? I'm sure we never had laptops, and forget iPads or even high speed, internet when we started our career. What is your initial impression of software itself? Any, when you started early on?
See, I think interesting question. We are all transitioning from a VUCA to a Bani world, and one framework gives us something to work upon, which is more forward-looking. The other one, which is more helping us look at ourselves internally, what should be our response to it. And looking back, when I started career, computer science, as I said, was a niche sort of academic course that everybody wanted to. I didn't had too much of exposure, considering I was coming from. We didn't had computers in our hometown. The first time when I actually started using, physical desktops, that was when I started engineering, and I think 6 months after, I thought I would need that. And as I started working and using, I really felt there is a lot of transformation that's happening, and it is something which is gonna revolutionize how we think, what it can create, what immense power that it carries, and what impact it can have on our daily lives, and connect everybody together. Never thought of, at that point in time, having a mobile phone was also a blessing or advantage. But having a desktop and getting connecting and connected to somebody sitting, across geography through Skype, that was very, very intriguing for a starter who's just starting to look at the computer engineering. And as we graduated, there was so much so in the strong foundation that you need to build for yourself, the object-oriented concepts, the Java, the world of the core engineering and writing the programs and the softwares, which I mean, while I was in college, I never thought that it would actually help make money. But then I think the power it carried, not only just to transform, but also, of course, building self-confidence that you can create products which can help not only just organization, but your country grow. So that power or that realization came a bit late, but then yeah, whenever you transition as early as you start, that was few initial thoughts that yes, it carries a lot of power, but how do you leverage that power? I think that time internet was not too easily available. Now it's like everybody, every house, everyone has that, and they carry along themselves, along with them. And you have so much knowledge at hand. Whereas at that time, I think if that power also is given at that time, you can just transform so many things. If you turn back, you feel that if all of this was available, 5 years back or 10 years back, it would have been a different you.
I agree with what you're saying in terms of it's a nation building. Many times, initially when I used to talk about where I work and what I do, my immediate family used to say, "Hey, you are working in software, so you are actually working for a some company in the US. I mean, you're not actually producing anything for the country itself." I think that was the initial reaction. So I used to actually talk about how me bringing in foreign money actually is helping 10 other people because of the downstream effect and everything. But remember, this is all early on a time when we were out. And in some shape or form, and now look at the startup ecosystem in the country. It's completely different.
It's just mind-boggling. True.
And that startup ecosystem has been built not overnight, right? The skills have been, we've learned the skills, we've propagated the skill in terms of large development, particularly in the finance sector. See, some of the statistics I'm sure you know is many large services company, more than 50% will be in the BFSI sector. When I say BFSI sector includes investment houses, insurance, banking, everything. So that was the big one. And having, built your career in this sector, what are your, key learnings if for somebody who is going to transition to finance? What are your, I'm sure you have contrasted it in terms of how finance works very differently compared to the rest of it. What are your few key takeaways?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll be happy to share finance. So as I said, I started as a software engineer. So transitioning from a technology role to one which focused more on analysis and what financial products are being built, it wasn't a natural progression. It involved dedicated efforts to refine certain skills, new skills acquiring new skills, forecasting, decision making, quants, analysis, data, strategy, a lot of different skills that were required. And I always used to see from a distance that being part of technology, yes, you're learning a lot of skills and making an impact, but people sitting on the business side are the ones really contributing to the revenue. And you are connected to the real world because that's where you understand the numbers. And I always find it very fascinating. And back then, as a technology person, I felt, and this is back then, I perceived that, there was a glass ceiling in the engineering role. Once you reach a certain level, there is a very little room for advancement, and unless you are willing to transition to ultimately owning a delivery or a management position, and also every 4 to 8 years, whatever you have learned, it gets challenged because your technology becomes obsolete or your prior experience is not required, etc., etc. So lot many reasons which kind of pushed me to find out something else that I wanted to do in life, and this was something which I really was interested and fascinated towards, and always wanted to contribute and connect to the real business, the real problem statements, what people in the business are facing, what are the new products that they want to launch, how does this industry work, and while getting that knowledge of how financial industry operates, you yourself become financially independent as well. You start to think and challenge yourself on those lines, right? So I kind of grasped the grasp that business had on every necessary detail to create value. It just attracted me towards it, and I really wanted to go towards it, generate value, learn more, earn more, and create that valued profile. So I kind of strengthened those skills. And these are, as I said, it's not a natural progression. It required me to transition from technology to an analysis role. First, to understand the business requirements and get a bit more understanding and depth of the domain. Become that SME or acquire that subject matter expertise in that area, in that business function, and slowly move different teams, understood how different areas works. And once you have all of that, plus I was, as I said, lucky and blessed enough to have the right set of support system and networks of right mentors around me who showed that confidence, yes, you can do it types. And when you have those people who are showing confidence, you just get into that uncharted territory. You just take that leap of faith and let me do that. Also, when you actually want to do it, and you are working on yourself by doing classroom trainings or some certifications online, getting your data and analytical skills a bit more honed on that, online courses. I registered for a couple of certification on product management, and recent one from IIM Kozhikode is what I completed. But then, just getting through different types of certification to hone those skills, get that hold. And once I felt I am ready, that's when from analysis to product sort of management role is something that I kind of got, and fortunate to have, as I said, good managers around me, supportive portfolio managers who was always there to help. And because their world was also transforming, they were not just portfolio managers, they were also transitioning into a portfolio engineer role.
Oh, wow.
They also wanted to do more. And that was the eye-opener for me as well. And that's when I said, if there is such fungibility on that side of the business function, that the fungibility has to be on this side of the function as well. So let's, just try, switch, understand how they operate. And it was a good blend because I was working with the portfolio engineering group who helped me understand a bit of, how the algorithms works and the numbers work, though I'm still not a portfolio manager, but I do understand a bit of intricacies of how financial world works. So and I love it. What I do, I love.
Perfect. See, in the end of the day, you don't have to be a certified financial advisor or a CFA or a CFP or anything. At least you understand the challenge and say these are the areas in terms of regulatory or a compliance related, and the kind of speed in which finance changes has always impressed me. Because what happens is in some other sectors, change is slow. You will not immediately see the change, but here change is very fast because regulatory, suddenly there will be a new regulation or there will be a deadline driven aspect of it. So how do you ensure your solutions support them, right? Software solutions support them. We as technologists are able to stand on your own feet. Shikha, what you said is very clear in terms of, there is a fungibility in terms of business is changing. So technology is also changing along. And you also worked in the financial industry for so long. So what are your, I see you worked in both Mumbai, Delhi, and in with different parts of the country. What made you change companies or change locations? Any insights there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started, see, the first job is special. Wherever you get, you just jump onto it because you want to get into corporate industry. So I started with Accenture Bangalore and I stayed there for 2.5 years. I realized when you join as a fresher, there is so much so to learn because there was, focused training programs and .NET trainings and all the technology focused training, and then you get into project. For me, what happened was I was trained on a different skill, but I was put on a project on a different skill set altogether,
Okay.
which I felt was lucky because it was a niche skill at that time, Informatica. And
Oh,
that's how I landed into data.
okay.
I think since then, I don't remember I have actually moved out of data ever. Of course, in Fidelity, I have changed multiple roles and teams, but then, core experience and exposure has been with data.
Okay.
And I started, but I was a technologist, so I started with Informatica, all the reporting tools, business objects, OBI, and all that, learnings. And I was very happy earning a little bit extra because of the niche skill set that I had. Then from Bangalore, and it was wonderful learning experience of 3 years staying in Bangalore, understanding a different culture, different perspective, that diverse perspective that you get from different people, while you're so naive, you don't at a nascent stage of your career, if you get those co-creation during those initial years on your project, you just explode your ability to absorb and your ability to comprehend things. It just changes drastically. But yeah, time had to come back. I had to come back closer to my hometown, and hence, after 3 years, I got a very good opportunity, and that too with Accenture only. So my business unit lead or head, I would say, he had somebody invited for the conference, and I was luckily part of the conference. We started talking. There was a founder of, I think, TechSpan Headstrong, Arjun Malhotra. He was the founder of the company. And we was just sitting together. And I said, you only hire IITians in your organization. I heard that. What's so different? I don't know what stuck, and we exchanged emails, and there was an email in my mailbox, just a hello message, and I said, this is my profile, I want to come back, and if given an opportunity, I would like to go through the process, and would like to work with the IITians in your organization. And that's how I landed Headstrong. But then I was mainly working with Morgan Stanley account and on-site, got wonderful opportunity to stay in Tokyo for almost a year.
Okay.
I would say it was I was very lucky to have those experiences in the early career of my life. Getting into a different location, then getting into on-site location in Tokyo, where, the Japanese, the enthusiasm and the passion that they carry for work, 12 hours, 14 hours. I've never seen anybody working and slogging like that. I used to really embarrassed that I'm coming at 9 and I'm leaving at 5. And then I realized by the time I actually moved out of that space, I realized the importance of continuous learning. Deepen your knowledge about whatever you're doing. Be self-aware, talk to yourself, ask a lot of questions, continuously review what you are adding to your profile. That's how I moved from then back to Gurgaon or Noida, Delhi NCR region. And then I think I got an opportunity. I got married and I had to leave the location because of marriage and move to Mumbai. JP Morgan was the firm that I joined. And again, 3-4 years I spent there. Moved back to there was a family emergency, or I would say exigency. I had to come close to the family. And hence we decided to move the entire base to Delhi NCR region again.
Okay.
And since I am with Fidelity, and again, as I said, throughout the career, I've moved to multiple organizations. There is a very different perspective that you get when you move different organizations, business functions, you learn, line of businesses that you get exposed to, and so on. However, when you work within the organization, what keeps you going is when you change multiple departments or multiple business functions and multiple roles.
Roles.
So every time you feel you are changing something, you are doing something new, you are doing it keeps you going.
Correct.
Because you are adding, you are learning, you are growing. The personal growth and self growth has always been, my mantra for success. You keep adding. I think without learning, you just cannot achieve what you want to. Growth and comfort, I say they do not coexist. You really need to challenge and push yourself, and hence, moving to different locations, to different organizations in different departments. I think that kept me going, and I would encourage that for everybody.
Very cool. So I'm going to ask you a delicate question, Shikha. What is your, timeline to change a role or a change a department? What is your magic duration or a timeline? Is there anything that you have, or is it as it happens? I have a number so that I have personally used, but I want to.
I would wait to hear that, but then I really don't have a number in my head that I would change after every 2 or 3 or 5 years. I generally, in whatever role I'm playing in the capacity, if my personal growth is not happening in terms of whether I'm not talking about climbing the ladder, career ladder. It's more about evolving and adding to your profile in terms of learning by pushing and honing that growth mindset. I always love to do that. And hence I keep pushing myself to break that ceiling and keep adding to my profile. And the day I feel that I'm doing that job, which is very monotonous and it's not giving me or challenging me enough, I think that's when I reach out to whosoever I'm working with, that I want to try something else. I want to add this thing to my profile, or I want to do some professional certification. And that's when I decide to move.
Nice. Very, very good answer. In fact, I have actually a two-pronged aspect, right? One is I actually look at, about while it has always been about around the 3.5 year period, but it's always like I have this mantra that every day, am I having spring in my step and something to do with learning, curiosity, and if I see myself, continuously a month, if I'm not able to do it, I sort of go and seek other, within the organization, trying to figure out if what else can be done to add that spring in the step. Is probably a very naive way of putting, but maybe a challenge.
It is very important, and I'm always driven by that, curiosity, insatiable curiosity of learning and more. And I think over time I have realized I enjoy not just learning and adding new courses or skill set to my profile. I enjoy the process of learning. Whenever new thing starts, you enjoy that journey, the process of achieving that skill set or achieving that particular thing, and if you start to enjoy that learning process, then the actual outcome, I think that's where it adds to the greater purpose. And I think that's what I'm actually inculcating in my son also. Many times I tell him that don't worry, about the outcome that's going to come. Just focus on, putting in your efforts and continuously learn. And every single day, small little steps that you take, at the end, it's going to show that, bigger outcome and achievement.
Yeah.
So, that's what I believe in.
True. Basically, essentially, it's a hard work ethic and creating that curiosity in yourself, because it's like a muscle memory. If you don't keep yourself engaged, who else is going to engage you? You can't say, somebody else will come and engage me.
So true.
How do you keep yourself motivated and keep to that next point of your trajectory? So I want to understand, Shikha, so given your growth and you are in the crux of data sciences, AI/ML, and it's amazing, right? What initially ensuring that having a data lake or a data warehousing is actually morphed itself into such a big LLMs and everything. So how do you see yourself or your own role changing in the next I can't ask a decade, maybe 5 years now.
So true. 5 years, I can't really envision my future considering there's so much of uncertainty, volatility around. It is, and I would say current leaders are the ones who have faced once in a century financial crisis and the pandemic. I'm sure others would have seen so, but I have seen, and I really say that it's a global financial crisis that we have seen, and a pandemic like COVID-19, which has absolutely changed the way we think. There's so much uncertainty and volatility around. You can't even, I mean, you can reflect to your past and see what are the learnings and ask yourself those questions. How would you see your future? I would rather, take a different approach, that because the pace of change is relentless and it continues to happen, and how it is transforming with AI, it is like every 6 months you see something, a new startup coming and creating a new product. So how are you leveraging AI to your benefit? I think that's where your efforts should go in. Basically, the world is complex. And I think this is something which I got a term for that, and I'll introduce that term. I don't know whether you would have heard that already. There is uncertainty, there is complexity, there is everything, ambiguity, learning, wavering around you. How do you distinguish the trivial ambiguities and the substantive one? Kill the noise, and what is hard to ignore, address them. But
Correct.
address that uncertainty by embracing that uncertainty. You need to live by those uncertainties, mysteries. How do you challenge and tackle those complex challenges, rather than giving an immediate action and immediate response, because will not help
Correct.
in this world. Rather, be a bit more resilient, a bit more flexible and adaptive to these uncertainties, and any premature closure will not help in the world now.
Okay.
So better, keep changing during the pressing times. You might have that tendency of coming to a problem statement and solving it immediately, but rather dwell on that uncertainty, develop a good depth on it, get a do not get an impulsive reaction, rather, understand a bit more and build on it. Examples, I see companies like of Amazon, Google, Netflix, Tesla, how they are just continuously evolving. They are also facing uncertain times, right?
Correct.
I mean, you look at Netflix, how they have changed. They now have integrated AI within themselves. They know what content to be published for this user. It's a very personalized sort of interface that you get when you start your Netflix account. Amazon, how they are changing. COVID time, they just changed the delivery process. Online delivery was so fast. So it is something that I would really want to hone in myself as well. Greater adaptability, making incremental, small little moves, but make those moves with absolute agility and speed and dexterity. I think that's very important, because if you do things with your own hands and you are into it, I think nobody can take that away. Co-creation, collaboration, all of these things are vital, and they're cliche industry terms. But then, yeah, capturing the diverse perspective, learning, doing things with your own hands, mastering that skill. And this is what is called negative capability. So if you, as a leader, have the ability to handle negative capability,
Okay.
I think this is something that's how I want to perceive myself and envision my future and navigate all the ambiguity, uncertainty, rather than, that black box and white box thinking that you used to do. Okay, this is binary answer. I don't want to give binary answer, but this is what I want to do.
Very, very fantastic. I think this is fascinating, and the negative capability and ensuring that you are I am a mindfulness expert, not expert, but a practitioner, I want to say. And I had a major fascination of Daniel Kahneman's, slow thinking and fast thinking. Alluding to what you're saying about, being mindful and understanding what your context is what you're essentially saying, right? In terms of, if you're very deliberate in acquiring the skill, deliberate in terms of what is a challenge, why is a challenge happening around me, and then act upon it. That way you're thinking more long-term, more strategic about yourself. That is exactly what firms are also doing. I think it's a very important skill for us to know in a VUCA world. I know VUCA world is a very overused term, but
Yeah.
it's also a lot of uncertainty and ambiguity on everybody's lives also because of the changes happening, right? So, alluding to what you're saying in terms of learning and how do you keep yourself abreast, what are the few things that you have used yourself, Shikha? Yeah, certification. I see you have done, several levels of learning, coding, more from a technology as well as in the process side, domain side. What a couple of, tips that you can share?
I was technology, inclined as I started my career, and as technology just demanded a lot of time in terms of upskilling yourself, because every 4 to 8 years, something, either new framework comes in or open source framework is available where you need to contribute. And if you have that knack of, keeping yourself up to date, what's happening abreast of, there's so much stress that you carry with yourself. But then if you enjoy the learning process, you keep contributing, and the other way around, learning and adding to yourself, your profile. So while I was a technologist, there were a lot of things that I did: Informatica certification, warehousing concepts, and a level of those certifications. And now I realize, when I have transitioned away from a technology role to a business analysis role, I did a IIPM certification, which was more of a product management and financial analysis. Then I did a course in product management, because that's how basically I wanted to create my profile also in such a way. It's a gradual transition into owning the new product launches. And I really don't want to bound myself though to this in a particular product. It is like anything and everything in financial industry. I can make myself more available to anything. So I kept adding. So product management from IIM Kozhikode was the latest. Rather, I would say there is something else that I have added in the last. There is a Snowflake is coming up pretty well and adopted as the aggregator platform in many organizations.
Yeah.
So there is a Snow Pro certification that I did to hone that skill on cloud.
Okay.
How do you bring your data on cloud and create those data lakes? It's a very different concept that we used to have when everything was on an Oracle or Sybase sort of heavy kits that you had on your organization servers. You had everything in the same database, but yet to go from one to another to access anything, it required very, very costly operations. Not that it's not there in the ecosystem, it still exists in the ecosystem. However, on cloud, a lot of things have changed. It is the model as pay as you use it. Plus the storage cost. There are a lot of other costs which have actually come down, but you need to be very careful when you're designing anything on cloud. If you're putting everything on cloud, how are you aggregating those operations? So it was very important. I'm not a technology person anymore. However, even when one of these stakeholders, when the design review happens for any thing or any new product delivery that happens, so just to contribute and even to understand and challenge why a certain design is better over the other design, I think that's where getting yourself up to date on those concepts was pretty important. What are the data lake principles? What are the product design, data product design, or the data product brochure that you should be building up? Or you're thinking like, as I said, there is a marketplace for the products that you go, Amazon, you get everything.
Correct.
Similarly, what if you have a marketplace for data? There are market vendors. You go to Bloomberg, you get everything, but they have a product catalog and you can buy and purchase that data. What if within the organization we have something like that created? So that is the vision and the North Star that we have, that we want to build something like that. The organization, you can come onto data, shop data. This is what we want. You want access. Are you entitled to get that view or not? So there are so many concepts. You cannot just come and buy data or shop that data, or you start using it. There are so many intricacies that are associated with that data, entitlements, usage tracking. There are some regulatory norms that comes with
Correct.
it. If you're using vendor, a lot of other things
Correct.
comes around it and so on. So to get that hold on those concepts, I think was very, very important for me to understand the concepts. And as I said, I just love the process of learning, and hence I keep reading a lot of things only related to work. I don't the journals. Otherwise, people would think I am an avid reader. So I don't really get into too many fictional books or things like that. I'm more interested in anything which is related to work and the current affairs. I try to keep myself up to date on that.
Okay.
But I really keep challenging myself, creativity and problem solving. And I have realized last 2-3 years I have been pushing myself to keep up to date on what's happening in the world. And I realized there is with the it is not related to my work, a particular topic, but when you start reading it over time, you realize that everything starts to join up automatically.
It is connected, right?
Yeah, it's all connected. And when it comes to the frameworks, there is a framework called MISI, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And I used to feel that how come people are able to think everything for a problem statement, all different aspects. And so this is a framework that people actually adopt to think. There is a pattern to think. Just keep learning, I would say. That's the only advice I would give. You keep evolving, innovating, and inspiring others.
Perfect.
And I really believe in it that, networking in professional world makes a lot of impact, but building a robust network beyond exchanging just the business cards, I think it is very, very important. You should know the network that you are creating is the network where you can share your dreams, you can take risks together and do learning together. Don't shy away from taking challenges. Just build the ecosystem around you, support system around you, and go for it. I think that's a wonderful thought that I believe in myself, and I have actually reaped a lot of benefits of it. And I would really advise others, build a very, very strong, robust network system around you. And metrics of happiness shouldn't be tied to your professional life. Just do what you really love doing and take risks, learn together and grow together. Thank you.
This has been fantastic, Shikha. I loved this whole conversation.
Thank you for having me on the show.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People Stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.